I stare at my phone's screen, its glow harsh against the darkness of my apartment. My mother's text burns into my vision. Family meeting. Sunday, 4 p.m. Don't be late. My fingers hover over the keyboard, poised to type a response. But what is there to say? This isn't a conversation. It's an ambush. Oregon rain taps against my windows, a steady rhythm that usually soothes me. Tonight, it sounds like a warning. I place the phone face down on my coffee table and walk to the window. Portland sprawls below, lights blurred by sheets of rain. 3 weeks since Grandpa Wallace's funeral, and already the vultures are circling. The memory of the funeral hits me with unexpected force. The scent of lilies, Mother's performance of grief, complete with designer black dress and carefully dabbed tears. Rhett standing awkwardly beside her, eyes down, shoulders hunched. Neither of them had visited Grandpa in his final month. I had. I close my eyes and see the wood-paneled legal office where we gathered 10 days after the burial. Mr. Abernathy, Grandpa's attorney for 30 years, adjusting his reading glasses as he prepared to read the will. Mother and Rhett seated across from me, both leaning forward slightly. To my granddaughter, Greer Eleanor Langston, Mr. Abernathy had read in his measured voice. I leave controlling shares of Langston Materials, the family home at 1,423 Willow Street, and the sum of $3.8 million. The silence that followed lasted exactly 3 seconds. I counted each heartbeat. This must be a mistake. Mother's voice cut through the room, slicing the quiet. Her hand slammed against the mahogany desk. Wallace wouldn't do this. Mr. Abernathy didn't flinch. He'd known my grandfather long enough to anticipate this reaction. There is no mistake, Mrs. Langston. Your father was of sound mind and body when he signed these documents. I kept my face neutral, hands folded in my lap while Mother unleashed a torrent of objections. Through it all, Rhett never spoke. He stared at the floor, the cords in his neck visibly tightening. When it was over, when Mother had exhausted her immediate arsenal of complaints, we walked silently to the parking lot. Before I could reach my car, she caught my arm, fingers digging into my skin. "This isn't over, Greer," she whispered, her breath warm against my ear. "Not by a long shot." I said nothing, just pulled my arm free and walked away. Only when I was alone in my car did my hands begin to tremble. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white, willing myself to breathe. Now, 3 weeks later, my phone sits on the coffee table like a ticking bomb. The family meeting. Sunday at 4 p.m. The rain intensifies, drumming against the window. I run my fingers through my hair, trying to untangle my thoughts. Since the reading of the will, Mother has called 17 times. I've answered twice. Each conversation ended the same way, with her tears, her accusations, her demands to fix this situation. My phone buzzes with a new message. For a moment, I expect another text from Mother, but it's Cal. "You okay? Want me to come over?" Cal knows about the inheritance, about Mother's reaction. He's offered to accompany me to the family meeting, but this is something I need to face alone. "I'm fine," I type back. "Just thinking." 3 dots appear as he types his response. "That attorney's number is in your contacts. Rhea Kessler. If you need backup." I smile slightly. He's right. I've already spoken with Rhea twice, ensuring that Grandpa's will is ironclad. It is. Sunday stretches before me like a minefield. 2 days to prepare for whatever Mother has planned, whatever she thinks will change my mind. I walk to my bedroom and pull out my overnight bag. If I'm going to face this, I need to be ready. The drive to Albany takes about an hour and a half from Portland. I'll go early, stop by Grandpa's house, my house now, before heading to Mother's. As I pack a change of clothes, I catch sight of the St. Christopher medal hanging from my rearview mirror, visible through my bedroom door. Grandpa's medal. He gave it to me when I got my first car, telling me St. Christopher would keep me safe on the road. "But I'm not even Catholic," I'd said. "Neither am I," he'd replied with a wink. "But I figure we can use all the help we can get." I finish packing and return to the living room. The rain has softened to a gentle pattern. I pick up my phone and type a response to Mother's text. "I'll be there." Then I sit in the darkness, listening to the rain, and plan my strategy. Whatever storm awaits me in Albany, I'll weather it. Grandpa didn't leave me his legacy because I was weak. He left it because he knew I was strong enough to protect it, even from my own family. On Sunday, Mother's house looks the same as always: pristine landscaping, Freshly painted shutters, not a leaf out of place. The perfect facade, just like her. I sit in my car for an extra minute, watching the curtain in the living room twitch. They know I'm here. I checked my phone one last time. A text from Cal. Remember what Rhea said, don't sign anything. With a deep breath, I grab my leather portfolio, the one Grandpa Wallace gave me when I graduated with my MBA, and walk the familiar stone path to the front door. Before I can knock, it swings open. Greer, darling, right on time. Mother's voice carries that artificial brightness she reserves for church functions and country club events. She's wearing pearl earrings and a cream-colored cashmere sweater I've never seen before. Come in, come in. The living room stops me cold. Mother has rearranged everything. The furniture forms a horseshoe around the coffee table, 4 chairs positioned like a corporate intervention. 2 men in charcoal suits rise when I enter. Rhett sits in the corner chair, shoulders hunched, gaze fixed on the carpet. Would you like some coffee, dear? Mother gestures to a silver service on the sideboard. Let's get to the point. I remain standing, my portfolio clutched against my chest. Mother's smile tightens. These gentlemen are Alan Prescott and William Davenport, family wealth advisors. Prescott extends his hand. Miss Langston, a pleasure. Your mother has told us so much about you. I bet she has. I shake his hand briefly, noting the monogrammed cufflinks, the practiced smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Please sit. Mother pats the center chair, positioned directly across from her, the hot seat. I sit, keeping my portfolio on my lap. Rhett still hasn't looked at me. Now, Greer. Mother begins, smoothing invisible wrinkles from her slacks. We've gathered because we're concerned about Grandpa Wallace's state of mind in his final days. He was perfectly lucid when I visited him. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. Visits are different from living with someone, Mother counters. Wallace became very confused toward the end. Dr. Harmon can confirm. You hadn't seen him in 6 weeks before he died. The room goes silent. Mother's smile freezes in place. I saw him 3 times a week, I continued. We discussed the business, his investments, his plans for the future. Prescott clears his throat. Family situations can be complicated, especially when grief is involved. We're still your family, Greer, Mother says, leaning forward. Her voice drops to that concerned tone she uses when she wants something. Wallace may have thought he was doing the right thing, but he didn't consider the broader implications for all of us. Davenport nods sympathetically. Multi-generational wealth requires careful management. The Langston family legacy. I'm well aware of our legacy. I cut him off. Grandpa and I discussed it extensively. Mother sighs dramatically. You'll understand when you have children of your own. Family responsibility isn't just about what's legally yours. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Another text. Then another. The barrage begins. Pastor Williams called this morning, Mother says, watching my reaction. He was quite concerned about the situation. Said he'd reach out to you directly. So that's what this is. She's rallied the troops, church ladies, family, friends, anyone with influence she can muster. Delora has been the backbone of this family for years. Prescott says, using Mother's first name with practiced familiarity, the current distribution creates unnecessary tension in a family with such strong traditional values. My phone buzzes again. I ignore it. The advisors have drawn up some paperwork. Mother nods to Davenport, who slides a document across the coffee table. A voluntary redistribution agreement, something fair for everyone. I don't touch it. Define fair. You would retain 15% ownership of Langston Materials. A generous portion, Davenport explains, as if offering me a gift. The remainder would return to the family pool. Return, as if it had been stolen. We've all contributed to building what Wallace left behind, Mother adds. Your position at Meridian wouldn't exist without the connections your father and I provided. I feel a flash of heat rise in my chest but keep my expression neutral. Grandpa helped me get that interview. Mother had nothing to do with it. Through all this, Rhett hasn't spoken a word. His eyes dart between Mother and the advisors, fingers twisting the wedding band he still wears despite the separation Aubrey mentioned when we spoke last week. I think of Rhea Kessler, The Portland probate attorney Cal connected me with. Her voice echoes in my mind. Don't sign anything. Document everything. I'll need time to review this with my attorney. I don't reach for the document. Prescott smiles thinly. Of course, but family matters are best resolved within the family, don't you think? I value family, I say carefully. I also value Grandpa's wishes. His wishes were clouded by confusion. Mother snaps, mask slipping momentarily. She composes herself quickly. We simply want what's best for everyone. Best for her, she means. I caught Rhett's eye for the first time. Something passes between use a flicker of understanding, perhaps, or warning. I should go. I stand, tucking my portfolio under my arm. I have an early meeting tomorrow. Mother rises too, her smile brittle. Think about what we've discussed, Greer. People are talking. The situation reflects poorly on all of us. I nod non-committally and leave without another word, feeling their eyes on my back. In my car, I check my phone. 6 voicemails from numbers I recognize: church members, family friends, even my old high school tennis coach. Mother's been busy. Driving back to Portland through the darkness, rain starting to fall again, I grip the steering wheel until my knuckles turn white. The Saint. Christopher Metal swings gently from my rearview mirror. Watch over me, I whisper to it. 3 hours later, a knock at my apartment door startles me. Through the peephole, I see Rhett, shoulders hunched against the rain, hair plastered to his forehead. Can I come in? He asks when I open the door. Mom's planning to sell the house. What? I step back to let him in. She can't. It's not hers. She says she has to act before you freeze the accounts. He looks exhausted, eyes rimmed red. There's more you need to know. Our eyes meet, and for the first time in years, I see my brother instead of Mother's puppet. I open the door wider. Come inside. A week later, the knock startles me awake. 3 sharp raps against my apartment door, urgent enough to cut through the steady drumbeat of rain. My phone reads 11:43 p.m. I pad across the hardwood in my sock feet, peering through the peephole to find Rhett on the other side, hair plastered to his forehead, shoulders hunched against the downpour. You look like something the cat wouldn't bother dragging in, I say, stepping aside to let him enter. Rhett manages a weak smile as he shakes rainwater from his jacket. Sorry to show up like this. What happened? I ask, reaching for a towel from the hall closet. He accepts it with a nod, running it over his dripping hair. Aubrey and I separated 3 months ago. The confession hangs in the air between us. I've barely spoken to my brother in years, much less about anything personal. 3 months? I repeat. Where are you staying? Mom's converted garage. He sinks onto my couch. Not exactly the triumphant return I pictured. I move to the kitchen and start the electric kettle. Tea or something stronger? Tea's fine. Rhett's voice sounds hollow. There's more, Greer. Things you should know. The kettle hums as I wait, giving him space to continue. Aubrey's a nurse at Albany General. We were doing okay until last year when Mom told Grandpa that Aubrey had medical bills. He looks up, eyes red, rimmed. $18,000 worth. He gave Mom the money to help us. But there weren't any medical bills. I guess the pieces falling into place. Rhett shakes his head. Aubrey worked double shifts while Mom took a Bahamas cruise, posted the photos right on Instagram. Grandpa saw them. My fingers grip the counter edge. She used you. Used both of us. Rhett's voice cracks. When Aubrey found out, that was the beginning of the end. She couldn't understand why I wouldn't confront Mom. The kettle clicks off. I pour 2 mugs of tea, buying time to process this new information. When I hand Rhett his mug, our eyes meet. There's more, isn't there? I ask. He nods. I think it wasn't the first time. 3 days later, the family home feels different in the morning light. Quieter. I let myself in with the key Grandpa Wallace gave me years ago, listening for any sound of Delora. The house remains silent. I headed straight for Grandpa's study, a room Mom rarely entered. Too boring for her. Too full of actual work instead of appearances. The oak desk dominates the room, its surface bare except for a brass lamp and a framed photo of Grandpa with me at my MBA graduation. I run my fingers across the polished wood, remembering how he'd sit here every Sunday, reviewing the week's business. The bottom drawer opens with a familiar creak. Inside, leather journals line up in perfect order, each labeled by year. I pull out the most recent 3. Grandpa's handwriting fills each page in neat, precise figures detailing every financial transaction. Not just business expenses, but personal ones too. My breath catches as I begin to notice a pattern. The 18th of January, 2024, loan to Delora, $6,200, Karen's dental emergency. I flip forward 3 pages. The 9th of February, 2024, note, Karen posted photos from a spa retreat in Arizona, same dates as dental emergency. My hand trembles slightly as I turn more pages, finding more entries. The 30th of March, 2024, loan to Delora, $4,500, Rhett's car repair. The 2nd of April, 2024, called mechanic, no record of repairs to Rhett's vehicle. Page after page documents a pattern stretching back years, not just random incidenza, systematic exploitation of my grandfather's generosity. My stomach twists as I reach the final journal's last entries. May 12, 2024, loan to Delora, $18,000. Said it was for Aubrey's hospital bills. May 26, 2024, saw Delora's cruise photos online. No hospital bills exist. May 27, 2024, meeting with Mr. Abernathy tomorrow, changes to be made. The final entry, dated just 2 weeks before his death. I sit back, stomach churning with a mixture of grief and vindication. All those years of feeling like I was crazy for questioning Mom's stories, for noticing the inconsistencies. As I move to return the journals to their drawer, my fingers brush against a sealed envelope tucked into the back corner. My name is written across the front in Grandpa's unmistakable script. For Greer, if they come for it. My hands shake as I open it. That same day after I found out the truth, I returned home and showed it to my brother. He was already there when I came back. She used my name to take money from Grandpa? Rhett paces my living room, Wallace's letter clutched in his hand. Rain still beats against the windows, but it feels distant now, background noise to the storm brewing inside. According to his records, at least 6 times. I spread the ledger pages across my coffee table, and those are just the ones he caught. Rhett drops onto the couch beside me, eyes scanning the evidence. I had no idea. I swear, Greer. I believe you. I point to an entry from 3 years back. Look at this, one she claimed you needed tuition money for business classes. You weren't even living in Oregon then. I was in Seattle. His voice turns hollow. Working construction. We sit in silence for a moment, the weight of discovery pressing down on us. Finally, Rhett picks up Grandpa's letter again, reading the words that have changed everything. My dear Greer, if you're reading this, they've challenged what I've left to you. I'm not surprised. Your mother never understood the difference between earning and taking. Greer has what Delora never learned: restraint, clarity. If she chooses to lead, this business might survive me. The house, the company shares, the money, their tools, not treasures. I trust you to know the difference. You once asked why I kept such detailed records. Now you know. Truth matters. Always has. All my love. Grandpa Wallace. He knew, Rhett whispers. All this time he knew what she was doing. And he was gathering evidence. I run my finger along a column of figures. Look at these notes, dates, times, conversations. He documented everything. Rhett looks up, something new in his eyes, resolve replacing resignation. What do we do now? I reach for my phone, pulling up Rhea Kessler's contact information. We prepare. Mom's expecting me to cave under pressure, to sign whatever they put in front of me at our next meeting. You're not going to. No. I meet my brother's gaze, but I am going to give her exactly what she deserves, the truth, with receipts. Rhett's phone buzzes with a text. He glances down, then back at me. Aubrey wants to talk. Go, I tell him. I'll call Cal, get him to help scan these documents and make backup copies. Rhett stands, hesitating at the door. Greer, I'm sorry I wasn't there. When it mattered? You're here now. I walk over and briefly squeeze his arm. That matters. After he leaves, I stand in the center of my apartment, surrounded by the evidence of years of manipulation and lies. The rain has finally stopped, leaving a strange clarity in its wake. This ends now, I whisper to the empty room, feeling something shift and settle inside me with quiet certainty of knowing exactly what needs to be done. On another family meeting on Sunday, I arrive at the family home at 3:55 p.m., purposely early. The rain has finally stopped, leaving behind puddles that reflect a sky heavy with clouds. Inside my purse sits a folder containing everything Wallace left behind, not just his signature on a will, but the truth he'd been documenting for years. Mother opens the door before I can knock. Her smile stretches too wide across her face, not reaching her eyes. "Right on time," she says, ushering me inside. The living room has been rearranged since my last visit. 2 leather chairs face the sofa at precise angles. A coffee table sits between them, polished to a gleam. The curtains are drawn despite the afternoon hour, casting the room in artificial twilight. The 2 advisors from last time stand as I enter. Their suits are different but might as well be identical: dark, expensive, anonymous. They nod in unison. "Would you like coffee?" Mother asks, her voice honeyed with false warmth. "No." I place my purse beside me on the sofa. "Just facts." The taller advisor Peters, I remember, clears his throat. "Miss Langston, we appreciate your willingness to meet again. It shows good faith." Good faith, as if I'm the one who needs to prove my intentions. The second advisor slides a document across the coffee table. "We've prepared what we believe is a fair resolution to this situation." I don't touch the paper. Instead, I watch Mother settle into her chair, smoothing her skirt with practiced precision. Her confidence radiates like heat from a furnace. She believes she's already won. "The voluntary redistribution agreement," Peters explains, tapping the document with one manicured finger. "You retain 15% ownership of Langston Materials and a small trust. The remaining assets return to the family pool." "For proper distribution," the other advisor adds, "more aligned with your grandfather's true intentions." Mother leans forward, her expression shifting to practiced concern. "Greer, honey, we all know Wallace wasn't himself those final months. You visited more than anyone, and while that was kind, it also gave you undue influence." The advisors nod in solemn agreement. They've rehearsed this, probably in this very room. Hours spent polishing their approach, anticipating my objections, preparing counters to any argument I might make. "You were always his favorite," Mother continues, "but favorites shouldn't receive everything. That's not how family works." The advisors maintain professional masks, but their eyes betray eagerness. They want their commission. They want this settled today. "The agreement includes a non-disclosure clause," Peters adds. "What happens in the family stays in the family." I listen silently, the folder heavy in my lap. I let them finish, watching their confidence grow with each unopposed statement. When they finally fall quiet, expectation hangs in the air like smoke. Before I respond, I say, my voice steadier than I feel, "I have some information to share." I open the folder methodically, laying out the first Documenta printed Instagram post. Mother on the deck of a cruise ship, cocktail in hand, dated during what she'd told Grandpa was Rhett's emergency medical procedure. "What is this?" Mother's voice sharpens. I place the second item beside it. A spa receipt from Arizona, dated during what she'd claimed was Karen's dental emergency. Then Wallace's handwritten ledger entries, each documenting a loan and its actual purpose. Discovered later. The silence grows thick. Peters shifts in his chair, papers rustling as he glances at his partner. The front door opens. Rhett steps into the living room earlier than planned, his eyes locked on the documents spread across the table. "You used my name?" His voice cracks slightly. "You told Grandpa I needed surgery money?" Mother's face drains of color. "Rhett, you don't understand." "I understand enough." He moves across the room, standing beside me instead of taking a seat next to Mother. The symbolism isn't lost on anyone in the room. I place Wallace's final letter on top of the evidence pile. My grandfather wasn't confused. He was finally seeing clearly. Peters coughs awkwardly, gathering his papers. "Mrs. Langston, you didn't mention these complications." That's not what happened. Mother's voice rises, desperation edging into her tone. Wallace was confused. These are old misunderstandings. Rhett picks up the cruise photo. This was last February. I was working double shifts at the plant while you told everyone I was recovering from surgery. The advisors exchange glances, recognition dawning. They've been misled about more than just the family dynamics. Perhaps, the second advisor suggests, standing, we should reconvene when. There won't be another meeting, I say quietly. The will stands as written. Mother's hands tremble as she grips the armrests of her chair. The careful facade she constructed is cracking, revealing the panic beneath. You can't do this to me, she whispers. I'm your mother. Yes, I say, meeting her eyes directly. And he was your father. The room falls silent except for the sound of shuffling papers as the advisors gather their belongings, sensing a losing battle. The power has shifted, tangible as gravity. Rhett remains standing beside me, his presence the final fracture in Mother's control. The battlefield has been cleared. The truth has done what no argument could. The silence lasts exactly 5 minutes after I place the final piece of evidence on the coffee table. A color photo of Mother on the deck of a cruise ship, champagne flute raised in triumph, time-stamped during the week she told Grandpa that Rhett needed money for medical bills. Mother's face transforms before my eyes, a mask slipping away to reveal something feral underneath. Her carefully constructed composure crumbles like a sandcastle hit by a wave. You had no right to go through Wallace's private papers. Her voice rises sharply, filling the living room. Those were confidential. They were at his desk. I say, my voice steady. The desk he left to me, along with everything else in this house. You've always been his favorite. Mother's accusation flies across the room, a poisoned arrow aimed at my heart. Always. Even when you were little, following him around like a shadow. He never saw what I sacrificed for this family. The wealth advisors shift uncomfortably on the sofa. The taller one clears his throat. Perhaps we can all take a moment to... Did you know? Rhett's question cuts through Mother's tirade. His voice is quiet but carries a weight I've never heard before. He picks up the cruise ship photo, studying it as if seeing Mother for the first time. Did you know Grandpa thought this money was for my medical expenses? Mother's attention swivels to him, her strategy visibly shifting. Rhett, darling, you don't understand how complicated family finances can be. That's not what I asked. My brother's voice remains soft, but there's steel underneath. Did you tell Grandpa the money was for me when it wasn't? I watch Mother's face, the rapid calculations happening behind her eyes. The moment stretches, pulls taut like a wire about to snap. Your grandfather was a controlling man, she finally says, her tone pivoting to wounded dignity. I had to frame things in ways he would understand. After all, I've sacrificed for this family. The vacations I never took when you were growing up, the career I put aside. The cruise ship looks nice, I say again, tapping the photo. So does the spa in Arizona during Karen's dental emergency. I emphasize it again purposefully. Mother's gaze meets mine, hardening into something cold and unfamiliar. The shorter advisor begins gathering papers, sensing the shifting tide. My mother notices and places her hand on his arm, stealing his retreat. Greer, sweetie. Her voice drops, softens into the tone I remember from childhood's scraped knees and disappointments. Remember when you broke your arm falling from the treehouse? Who sat with you all night in the hospital? Remember how I taught you to bake those cinnamon rolls Wallace loved so much? The memory surfaces, Mother showing me how to roll the dough, her hands gentle over mine. For a moment, I feel 8 years old again, desperate for her approval. You were always smarter than Rhett, she continues, her voice honeyed now. Wallace saw that, I saw that. Rhett never appreciated you the way I did. I hear Rhett's sharp intake of breath beside me. The room fills with a tension thick enough to touch. Mrs. Langston. The taller advisor interrupts, his professional veneer cracking slightly. Perhaps we should consider a different approach to resolving this situation. The family's needs might be better served if... I'm not doing this to hurt you, I say, meeting Mother's gaze directly. I'm doing this because it's right. I place my hand on each document as I address her claims. These aren't fabrications. These are receipts with your signature. Bank transfers to your personal account. Your own social media post during emergencies that never happened. Mother's lips press into a thin line as I continue. This business, this house, they're now my responsibility. Not because I wanted them, but because Grandpa trusted me to protect what he built. My voice never rises, but I feel the weight of absolute certainty in my words. I owe Grandpa. That's who I'm honoring. The room falls silent again. Even the grandfather clock in the hallway seems to hold its tick. You owe us everything you are. Mother's voice cracks like a whip. Without me, without this family, you would be nothing. Her words hang in the air between us, a bridge burning to ash. Can I come with you? Rhett asks quietly, his eyes meeting mine. I nod, extending my hand to him. He takes it, rising from his chair to stand beside me. This isn't over, Mother hisses, her composure completely shattered now. You can't just walk away from your family. But that's exactly what we do. Rhett's hand in mine, we walk toward the front door, leaving Mother with her hired advisors. My brother pauses at the threshold, looking back once, but I don't. Some doors need to stay closed. The afternoon sun warms us as we step onto the porch. I hear the door close behind us with a soft click knot, a dramatic slam, just the quiet sound of one chapter ending and another beginning. In my car, the silence between Rhett and me isn't uncomfortable. It's a shared breath after years of holding air in our lungs. The weight of what just happened settles on our shoulders as I start the engine. We drive away from the family home, the tires crunching on the gravel driveway for what might be the last time. The Oregon sunset paints the sky in streaks of amber and gold, the light catching on the St. Christopher medal hanging from my rearview mirror. Thank you, Rhett says after several miles of silence. I reach over and squeeze his shoulder briefly. No words needed. The road stretches before us, leading away from the past and toward whatever comes next. We drive into the sunset, two survivors of the same storm, finally heading for calmer waters. A year later, I trace my fingers along the polished mahogany of Grandpa Wallace's desk, my desk now. The morning sun slants through the tall windows of what was once his office at Langston Materials, casting golden light across the quarterly reports I've been reviewing since dawn. A year. One full trip around the sun since that family meeting shattered the facade of what family meant. Sometimes it feels like yesterday, other times, like another lifetime entirely. The framed photo of Wallace watches over me, his steady gaze a silent approval. Beside it sits his letter in its frame, the paper beginning to yellow slightly at the edges. Greer has what Delora never learned: restraint, clarity. His words anchored me through those first turbulent months. A knock interrupts my thoughts. Rhett fills the doorway, his shoulders squared with a confidence I never saw when he lived in Mother's shadow. A far cry from the hunched figure who appeared at my apartment doorstep that rainy night, warning me about Mother's plans to sell the house. The Medford numbers just came in, he says, crossing the room with quick steps. Our eco-materials division exceeded projections by 17%. I can't help but smile. Wallace would have loved this. Sustainable practices with sustainable profits. Don't tell anyone, but I actually enjoy proving the old guard wrong. Rhett runs a hand through his hair, shorter now, more professional. The certificate for his Sustainable Construction Management program hangs in his office down the hall. I remember those first weeks after the confrontation, Rhett sleeping on my pull-out couch, both of us wounded but healing. Cooking dinner together in my small kitchen, rebuilding a relationship that had withered under Mother's manipulations. The evening he called Aubrey, his voice cracking as he apologized. The day he brought her to Sunday dinner at my place, introducing her simply as family. Any word from Mother? I ask, though I already know the answer. Karen mentioned she's settled in Arizona, still telling anyone who'll listen how we betrayed her. He shrugs, the movement carrying none of the guilt it once would have. The space between us fills with comfortable silence. We've learned that some bonds grow stronger without words. I stand and walk to the window overlooking the manufacturing floor. Workers move with purpose, the business thriving under new leadership. I established educational trusts for the children of long-term employees last month, no strings attached, unlike the help Mother offered. Monthly dinner still on for Thursday? Rhett asks. Absolutely. Aubrey's choice this time. After he leaves, I open the bottom drawer and pull out Wallace's worn leather business journal. The final entry catches the light. Trust in those who value what you've built, not just what you've earned. I close it gently and look around the office that now truly feels like mine. Wallace didn't leave his legacy to me out of favoritism. He left it to someone who wouldn't burn it down. Outside, a Langston Materials truck pulls into the lot. Rhett waves from the driver's seat, ready for our site visit. I grab my jacket and head out to meet him. Stepping into the future, we're building together one worthy of the name we both carry.